Picture this. You wake up one morning and your mind already feels cluttered. Emails flood in, social media pulls your attention in 10 different directions, and by the time you've had your coffee, you've already made a dozen trivial choices that drain your energy. What to wear, what to eat, which message to respond to first. Then, when you finally face a decision that truly matters, a career move, a relationship conflict, an investment opportunity, you feel paralyzed. This is not just your story. This is the modern condition. Most people live in mental fog, reacting to impulses, drowning in distractions, and mistaking noise for clarity. The video we're building on rightly points out that your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. The difference lies not in luck, but in training. But here's the deeper truth. Clear thinking is not a gift. It's not something you're either born with or forever lack. It's a discipline, a skill that can be honed, sharpened, and refined, much like a blade. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, and modern psychology confirms it today. If you train your mind to filter noise, regulate emotions, and act from principle rather than impulse, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger. This essay will take you through a framework of 7 pillars of mental clarity and decision-making rooted in Stoic philosophy, enriched with modern science, personal reflection, and practical exercises. If you apply them, you won't just think better, you'll live better. 1. Your mind as a battlefield and an inbox. The Stoics described the human mind as a fortress. Modern thinkers might call it a battlefield. Every day, countless thoughts, worries, doubts, and distractions bombard us. Some push us forward, others hold us back, and the constant tug of war often leaves us stuck in indecision. Here's the problem. An unmanaged mind is like an overflowing inbox. Imagine logging into your email and seeing 3,000 unread messages. Some are urgent, some are relevant, most are just noise, but until you sort them, you feel overwhelmed. That's exactly how mental clutter works. The practice. At the end of each day, spend 5 minutes doing a mental inbox cleanup. Write down every unfinished thought, tasks you need to complete, anxieties that nag at you, ideas that excite you but aren't yet concrete. Once you externalize them, process. What needs action tomorrow? What requires long-term planning? What can be deleted entirely? I started doing this practice 2 years ago, and it radically changed my nights. Before, I'd lie in bed with swirling thoughts, unfinished emails, worries about meetings, random ideas. Sleep was difficult, and mornings felt heavy. Once I began offloading onto paper, my mind quieted. Sleep deepened. Decisions felt lighter. The takeaway? Clarity comes from subtraction, not addition. Empty your mental inbox, and you'll stop drowning in thought and start directing it. 2. Decision fatigue and the power of automation. The video introduces decision fatigue, a psychological truth backed by research from Roy Baumeister and others. The more decisions you make in a day, the weaker your mental energy becomes. Even trivial choices, what to eat, what to wear, what to read, consume resources. By the time you reach important choices, you're already mentally exhausted. Think of your mind like a smartphone battery. Every notification drains it slightly. By the time you need full power for that crucial presentation or difficult conversation, you're at 20%. The solution? Automate the small stuff. Wardrobe. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck. Barack Obama rotated between 2 suit colors. Why? To preserve mental energy for decisions that matter. Meals. Plan meals weekly or rotate simple options. I personally eat the same breakfast every day. Oats, fruit, coffee. Boring? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Schedule. Set fixed times for workouts, reading, and deep work. Routine liberates creativity because you're not wasting energy deciding when to start. Personal story. When I began automating my mornings, same breakfast, same writing routine at 7 a.m., I noticed something surprising. My afternoons became more productive. Why? Because I hadn't wasted brain power debating trivialities. My decision battery lasted longer. This isn't about living a rigid life. It's about conserving energy for what truly matters. You can either waste clarity deciding between 12 shirt colors, or you can save that clarity for building a business, nurturing a relationship, or making a bold career move. Number 3, emotions as data, not commands. Here's where the Stoics were ahead of their time. They didn't deny emotions. They simply refused to be enslaved by them. Most people believe emotions dictate action. I'm angry, so I must respond. I'm afraid, so I must retreat. But a Stoic flips the script. Emotions are data, not commands. Anger signals a boundary crossed. Fear signals uncertainty or risk. Excitement signals opportunity. But none of these feelings decide for you. The Stoic pause is the ultimate tool. When emotion surges, anger at an insult, fear before a speech, excitement at a risky opportunity, stop. Take a breath. Ask, what would my best self do here? That question alone introduces space between stimulus and response. I once made the mistake of firing off an angry email minutes after reading a colleague's dismissive message. The result? Escalation, tension, and weeks of damaged collaboration. Now I never reply in anger. I write the draft, then leave it. 9 times out of 10, when I revisit, I delete half of it. That pause saved me more relationships than I can count. Practical tools. The 5-year rule. Ask, will this matter in 5 years? If not, let it go. Most things don't matter nearly as much as they feel in the moment. Reframe emotion. Anger is energy. Redirect it into productive effort. Fear is a warning. Analyze whether it's real or imagined. Excitement is fuel. Temper it with patience. When you stop letting emotions dictate, you stop being a ship tossed by waves and become the captain steering the vessel. 4. The discipline of simplicity. We live in an age that worships complexity. We assume that the more sophisticated our thinking, the smarter we are. But complexity often hides confusion, while simplicity reveals truth. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. True clarity often looks simple, even obvious, because wisdom isn't about piling up facts, but stripping away illusions. Think of your mind as a room. If it's filled with clutter, you trip over things, lose track, and waste energy. But if the room is clean, minimal, and organized, everything becomes easy to find and use. In practice, unfollow accounts that add noise to your feed. Reduce news intake. Staying informed matters, but drowning in outrage cycles doesn't. Quit debates that lead nowhere. Most online arguments aren't about truth, they're about ego. When I started practicing mental minimalism, I felt almost guilty. Was I ignoring the world? No, I was protecting my mental clarity. Within weeks, my focus sharpened, decisions became faster, anxiety dropped. Simplicity is not laziness, it's discipline. It takes courage to ignore what everyone else is obsessing over, to cut the noise and focus only on what truly matters. 5. The Stoic pause, waiting for the second thought. Impulses are powerful. Someone insults you and the urge to retaliate flares. You see a shiny investment opportunity and greed whispers to jump. You're criticized in a meeting and pride screams to fight back. But the strongest decision makers practice what I call the clarity gap. They wait, not forever, but long enough for the second thought. The first thought is emotional. The second is rational. Imagine a swordsman in battle. The novice swings wildly at every opening, wasting energy and exposing himself. The master waits, poised, conserving energy, and strikes only when the moment is perfect. Decision-making works the same way. I learned this lesson painfully. Years ago, I accepted a job offer in the heat of excitement, convinced it was my big break. Within months, I realized I had rushed. The role clashed with my values and left me drained. If I had paused, slept on it, asked deeper questions, I would have avoided that detour. Actionable tip: before any major decision, enforce a pause. Sleep on it. Journal about it. If it still feels right the next morning, proceed. If doubt has grown, reconsider. The pause is not weakness, it's mastery. 6. Principles as compass, not feelings. Feelings are fickle. One day you're motivated, the next you're not. One day you crave discipline, the next you crave comfort. If your decisions are tied to how you feel, your life will look like a zigzagging path. Principles are different. They're steady, unwavering, and reliable, even when emotions storm. The Stoics taught that you shouldn't ask, how do I feel about this? Instead, ask, what is the right thing to do? For me, this became real when I set the principle. I don't sacrifice integrity for short-term gain. This meant saying no to opportunities that looked lucrative but felt dishonest. It wasn't easy, but it gave me peace. I could look at myself in the mirror without regret. If you don't define your principles, the world will define them for you, through trends, pressures, and opinions. A life led by principle may look rigid to some, but it's actually freedom. You're free from being tossed around by every new wave of emotion. Exercise. Write down 3 principles you refuse to compromise on. Not vague ones. Be nice. but sharp ones. I will not lie to get ahead. I will prioritize health over convenience. Let these be your compass when emotions mislead you. 7. Embracing uncertainty's reflection as growth. Here lies the most paralyzing trap: waiting for certainty. Most people don't act because they want 100% assurance. They want to know the relationship will last before committing, the business will succeed before launching, the career move will pay off before leaping. But life never offers guarantees. Waiting for certainty is waiting for a bus that never comes. The Stoics understood this. You can't control external events, but you can control your choices. Clarity doesn't precede action. Action creates clarity. When I launched my first project, I had endless doubts. Was I ready? Would people care? Was I good enough? The truth, I wasn't ready, people barely cared, and I wasn't as skilled as I thought. But by acting, I learned, grew, and iterated. Clarity came only after I moved. But action without reflection is chaos. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, journaled nightly. Not to wallow, but to refine. Every day was feedback. That's how growth happens. Act, reflect, adjust, repeat. Practical practice. Every night, ask, what did I do well? Where did I stumble? What can I improve tomorrow? Every week, review. Are my actions aligned with my principles? Every month, refine. What's cluttering my mind and what can I cut? This cycle of actions reflection builds clarity like sharpening a blade. Stop reflecting and the blade dulls. Stop acting and the blade rusts. Do both and the blade cuts through life's fog. Conclusion: building a mind like a blade. Clear thinking isn't a gift, it's a discipline. It's forged in small daily acts: cleaning your mental inbox, automating trivialities, pausing before reacting, cutting noise, acting on principles, embracing uncertainty, and reflecting consistently. The Stoics remind us, life will never hand you perfect conditions. The world will always be noisy. Emotions will always surge. Uncertainty will always loom. The difference lies in whether you let these forces control you or whether you control them. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. Sharpen it, and nothing can stop you. Let it dull, and even small obstacles will break you. So I leave you with one challenge. Tonight, before bed, take 5 minutes to reflect. Empty your mental inbox, write down your top 3 principles, and tomorrow, when life tempts you to react impulsively, pause and choose wisely. Clarity is not found, it is built. And when you build it, you build a life of power, purpose, and peace.